Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This video comes from YouTube, of all places. It's about the Fort McCOY commander, Colonel SHEYLA BAEZ Ramirez, being suspended because she didn't want to follow the chain of command. She didn't want to post up, the commander-in-chief's photos. So, yeah, she's causing a lot of controversy for that post out there. So let's see what they got to say. And before I start the video, if you like the video, like the content, subscribe, share, give me a thumbs up, help me out, and I'll continue making more videos. But let's get into it.
April 20th, 2025, a firestorm is erupting in the U.S. military. Colonel SHEYLA BAEZ Ramirez, the first Hispanic female commander at Fort McCOY, has been suspended after refusing to display official photos of President Donald.
She's a chunker, isn't she? It's a typical DA photo, but look like her. She's eating well.
Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in her office. This act, seen as a violation of Army regulations, has spiraled into a heated national debate. U.S. military bases.
Run that back real quick. Like anyone who's been in the military know that these are normally, the chain of command hallway. You have photos of the chain of command, from the president all the way down to the company commander, post commander of whatever unit you're at whatever post. Yeah, non-existent. Those two are completely turned around. So they're probably there. She just turned them around. And the POTUS, his is completely missing. Then the other side of that would be the NCO support channel from the top sergeant major of the sergeant major of the Army all the way down to, your company first sergeant.
Photos of President Donald Trump, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth in her office. This act, seen as a violation of Army regulations, has spiraled into a heated national debate. U.S. military bases are required to display leadership photos, a protocol rooted in respect for the chain of command. But BAEZ Ramirez pushed back, reportedly citing personal and political concerns. This isn't just about framed portraits. It's a symbolic moment in a larger cultural battle.
See, that's the thing. You can't bring your personal beliefs. When you're in a uniform, that's one thing you can't do. Personal beliefs, all that shit stays at home. All right, you step out that door with your uniform on, you are Army, 100%. No matter what they say, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral, you got to follow those orders. And she's the one who violated.
Trump's administration, and particularly his pick for Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, has been pushing to root out what they call woke ideology from the military. Hegseth, a controversial figure, has openly criticized women in combat and advocated for the pardons of convicted war criminals, positions that have polarized even military ranks. Some users on X are calling for BAEZ Ramirez's court-martial under Article 15.
Yep. See, the thing is, she doesn't like what he said about females in the military, but anyone who's been in the military knows that's a fact. What he stated was a fact. There are people, particularly females, they have their place in the military, not in combat arms. Because anyone who's been in combat, me a couple of times with a lot of other friends, we could tell you that when you're in a foxhole or you're in a vehicle and you get hit by IED or EFP, the one thing you don't want is a little bitty female trying to pull you out the truck or, trying to, do something to help move the equipment from one truck to another. She's slower, or they're slower, and, they're weaker. It's a fact. It's a biological fact, and you can't argue with biology. Not saying that all females are weak, but anyone knows there are some females out there. I've seen the military, bodybuilders, lift a lot of weight, but in general, they're not going to be that. You're not going to have that type of female in your unit 9 times out of 10.
Arguing her insubordination sets a dangerous precedent. Others are hailing her as a hero standing up against authoritarianism. Was her refusal a breach of protocol?
Yes, it is.
Or a principled act of resistance? This clash hits at the heart of questions about identity, duty, and political loyalty in the armed forces. Do you think she was right to refuse? Or should military discipline come first? Drop your comments below. Hit like if you value fearless reporting. Share.
Well, that's the end of that video. But right here, you know, on the Article 15, that has been a Joe, any old private snuffy, even, somewhere as high as a staff sergeant, he done something, on that post or even in the unit, and they don't agree with what he did, they can hit him up with Article 15. He can have his political personal beliefs and why not to do something. They're quick to throw him under the bus and, make sure he, goes to court, gets court martial on Article 15. But just because she's a Hispanic female and she's high ranking, they raising her as a hero for derelict in duties, for, disobeying lawful orders from the president of the United States. They calling her a hero for, disrespecting the chain of command. Because how does that look with the subordinates? Oh, if she could do it, we can do it too. And then he's just like a dissension in the ranks. And that's not a good look.
Arguing her insubordination sets a dangerous precedent.
It is a dangerous precedent indeed, because, if she, like I said, if she gets away with it, why can't Joe Snuffy get away with it? Just example, in military, we got, the Army ball, military police ball, every year. We go to a ball, we get dressed up in our, nice uniform. We go dancing, drinking, hold traditional standards. When it's time to depart, when they, retire the colors for the night and everybody gets to go home, Joe Snuffy gets pulled over for a DUI. But that commander, that colonel, sergeant major, nothing happens to them if they get pulled over because of their rank. It's always a double standard. So why should this be any different?
Others are hailing her as a hero standing up against authoritarianism. Was her refusal a breach of protocol or a principled act of resistance?
Definitely resistant. Like I said, you start at one here, then you have another installation, and then pretty much around the Army, you're going to have all types of resistance. People, derelict in their duties, people resisting, chain of command orders. You have to be able to fulfill those orders, as long as, like I said, ethical, moral, and legal. You cannot resist that. But that's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Is she right? Is she wrong? Have you witnessed something like this in the past, or those in the military, have you witnessed something like this firsthand? I'd like to know your thoughts. Like I said, hit me in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give me a thumbs up. Help me out. I'm trying to get to 1,000, and I'll be making more videos coming soon. Until then, peace.